act up feminist mothers.
Come on, come on.
Okay,
Hey,
so
Dr. Thorpe.
this is women's rebellion against God's order, and it comes in under the guise of things that are legitimate. Women should own property. Women should have the right to vote. Women should be able to bear arms. Women should be able to run for political office. Women should not be forced to marry people. All of that, and it's called first wave feminism. Even lesbians were in that too. And those lesbians tried to use Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass was used by the lesbians. See, what most people don't know is some of the key leaders for the women's movement in America have been black men. And it's been the weak, vagina begging black men. And why did I say vagina begging? First and foremost, God made the
Come
vagina
on.
for you when you're married. It's a black man who doesn't see his manhood or his humanity coming from the Most High that breathed into him for him to have life. His manhood comes only through his penis, which must go into a woman, or else if it's not stuck in a woman, he's not a man. I'm not trying to take women out of the mix, but you should be a man whether you have a woman or not. Does that mean if you're, and the way that a lot of we weak minded, pathetic black men who have no dignity or integrity is if he's not laid up with someone, he has no value to other black men because a lot of black men are pathetic and to a lot of others. And it's interesting, in other cultures, it's the women that try really hard to make certain that they have a man. Their value is caught up in having a man. And this new, silly, degenerate, dumb black culture, which I call fagonist, it is the man that has to have the woman. It's the man that has to cook and clean, happy wife, happy life. The, the man has been made into a woman with the penis, with all the responsibilities and duties of a man, but none of the rights thereof. And the woman has all the rights of a woman and a man at the same time. But you know what? He does get some pussy. And I'm thinking other men get pussy and they get the rights and respect of men and all the other things. And the women do their stuff. In our culture, the men don't get anything. a- And they make it seem as if what's to be expected in every other culture, if you're married, that you're going to have sex. God, so weak until the average black, whatever women say, I just want some pussy. I don't have anything in it. Right. And I'm thinking, men get with the black woman, and black women don't dare. When they marry a Latino man, try to make him into a woman. When black women get with white men, they don't try to treat them like they're women, or Asians. But at the same time that this contradiction goes on, it is a sorry, pathetic, simp, fagonist, no good black male who can't work with the next black man because he's jealous and mad of every other black man. We have a very catty, bitchified male culture, whether it's a church or where just people don't work together, which is why everybody's ahead of us. These guys have made what being manhood is supporting masculinized, rogue, unsubmissive, unfeminine, often morbidly obese, rebellious Luciferian women. That's proof that you're players, that you can juggle all those balls off these crazy, insane, ungodly, unmarriageable, bad mother type women. It's insane. It's insane. And
Hey, hey,
I get the sex part, but that's still insane because these same men will go to another country in the military and will marry someone over there, would never talk to another American person, not because the American women are attractive physically, but the central processing unit. feminism destroys the decency, the femininity, the integrity, the authenticity of women. And back to gender, what Judith Butler, her whole scheme with the other radical lesbian feminists, is to destroy first womanhood. The feminist movement aims to destroy motherhood, womanhood, wifehood. That's a whole movement. It's to make women miserable with what to make women want to be men. In fact, there are all these women getting double mastectomies, getting their breasts cut off because they don't want to be female. It isn't men who love breasts. I mean, we men are distressed. What can we do? They're cutting them off. Then it is the Luciferian radical lesbian feminist movement that has all these girls mutilating themselves, getting their clitorises hacked off. Now they beef about female genitalic mutilation, FGM, in Africa, but they celebrate it in America if it's being done by so-called Western medical science and psychiatry. This is insane. Now let me go further. They destroy womanhood, and by virtue, you destroy manhood. And because they want to get rid of patriarchy, and they lie to the women, they tell you, we want to get rid of the patriarchy. What they're really doing is trying to get rid of womanhood. And the fruit of this is already being seen for all of our pushy, aggressive, professional, loudmouth, old, elderly Black feminists. There's at least 1 million Black women who have no children, who have no husband, whose parents are deceased, who are living by themselves. The fruit of I don't need no man, and any child that they did have, they aborted because it was a medical procedure, it was their body, their choice. And now that they're old, and a lot of them low income, are at the mercy of assisted living staff and the Social Security system to be taken care of. It's scary. They're not doing well. The fruit of this feminism is higher and higher rates of suicide for women, a lot of them professional women with jobs and a car, and they got it all together, right? Suicide, mental illness, sterility, can't have children. I sent Chef Cian a news story from Savannah, Georgia, where a Black woman shot another Black woman 3 times to steal her 2 children. A lot of the women, if they're not lesbians, because they have the birth control pill and other things were made to allow women to function as it's assumed all men were whores. So with the birth control pill and abortion, women could be as promiscuous as the sleazy men, because all men have not been promiscuous or sleazy. The whole idea that men were sleeping and having just so much abundant sex, that myth was created by a omnisexual freak by the name of Alfred Kinsey, who died from complications of mutilating his own scrotum or nutsack, for those of you that don't know Latin. So the father of American sexual revolution is a man who'd have sex with animals, a pedophile who molested hundreds of children and would mutilate their own genitals, is the person who lays the foundation for how we understand sex in America. So if he said all these men were whores, and that's even more reason women need the pill so they can have as much sex as the men are having. Having as much sex as men. and you don't have to have children, and the big pushes. There are people pushing for baby killing and all of this. All of it comes out of this feminist movement. And I mentioned to you that some of this stuff is Luciferian. You will find that Margaret Sanger, the wicked woman that started Planned Parenthood and the Negro Project, so there would be no more black people. She's one of the leading feminists in the country who would go to the Ku Klux Klan and say, "Let me help you take care of the Negro problem. If we kill the babies before they're born, you won't have to lynch them." And who did Margaret Sanger get with? Margaret Sanger had partners in that's right, our Greek-led organizations. Oh, yes, they were, and our churches. They got black elite people who didn't care about the rest of us, who helped initiate the process of destroying black people. We're at a point now where we're not producing 2.1 children per female. That's part of this thing. By the way, notice Oprah's a multi-billionaire. I can say this to you, if I'm sterile, which I can assure you I am not, if I had the money she had, as much as I like children, I'd at least have some foster kids. Oprah Winfrey has had an abortion.
Not Oprah. No.
And let's just do Oprah because Oprah's a liar. We know Oprah Winfrey based on what she's told us about herself. Nobody's gone back and really checked. It's sort of like we've been told that T.D. Jakes is this great man of God. Have we really checked into that? Like I said, you want to look at a preacher, you want to know something about how the preacher is, look at his family. Don't even look at the sanctuary, just check out his wife. If she looks like she has like a crabby expression on her face, like he hasn't touched her since they jumped the broom, or if the kids look like they just can't wait to get out of church to get high or do a line of coke or do a line in your drawers, that's what you look at and you have an idea about how his house is. Mm. Nobody's really taken a good look at Jake's. And nobody's really done a forensic biography on Oprah Winfrey. I had the good fortune to have as an adopted auntie a cousin of Oprah Winfrey. And I can tell you that I think when Oprah's mother died, Oprah was, I don't even think Oprah spent time. She wasn't at the whole, if it wasn't her mother, it was a close family member that died. Oprah didn't even stay at the service the whole time. She came in and walked out. You're rich as she is, right? And yet, the town that you're in from Mississippi, the people are still poor. It's unconscionable. The allegations that she was treated so terribly and so horribly. Well, what her cousin said is that this isn't true. And people in the family asked to talk to Oprah. Oprah, why are you doing this? Oprah has elected not to talk to certain family members. So I believe that part of this story of whoever this Oprah Winfrey character is an attention, empathy, and sympathy grift by a black woman that knew if I said all these terrible things about black people and what I'd been through, some guilty liberal racist whites would embrace her. I guess it's her version of 6 degrees of separation. And if you look at Oprah's production, she's consistently put out negative, ugly, offensive images of black people.
Come on. Yeah.
I mean, just repeatedly. I'm thinking if you were really concerned about women and you're Oprah Winfrey, I've got a little statue here. I'm going to give you an example of a story Oprah Winfrey won't do. This is a statue I have. Uh, this is Bessie Coleman. This is a statuette. One of my heroes, Bessie Coleman's one of the very first black women aviators flying planes. At the very beginning of airplanes, going all over everywhere, showing that this is incredible. Why couldn't her story be a movie?
Come on with it.
This is a great black woman. She had everything. She's heroic, and she got dogs for being a woman. She didn't get all the stuff that Oprah likes. But you know what? It's too positive. Someone's not slapping them in the eyes with the penis or raping them or beating up or calling them names. It's who needs that to be foundational to describe how black men and women get along? You know, I'm going to just tell you, and I'll go to the music business for 1 second and just say, I remember not too long ago, the music critics, often in the GCP community, would trash Stevie Wonder, Marvin Gaye, and others for making all this love music. All they do is sing about love. Because that's what we once did, was always talk about love and compassion and since I lost my baby and my girl and the girl's all right with me and I wish it would rain. Variations of songs about love that we felt for one another. And that used to be attacked, not by black record buyers or black music lovers, but by people who hate our guts. Now we have someone like Oprah Winfrey, who's just like these GCP so called music critics, where they always make things that are without love in them. And I guess critical acclaim, critical appeal. This color purple, which is absolutely despicable to read or listen to. You can't believe it. That tramp got a Pulitzer Prize off of it. I wrote better stuff when I was in elementary school. But it's denigrating to black men and sadly, and forgive me, our moronic black feminist fools think that if a black man's kicked in the mud, stripped naked, chained up, and cast aside, that somehow she's going to be okay with him like that. Not so, ladies. If the black man is in the gutter, you're there too. No women rise higher than the men from which they're connected. White women are exalted because white men are boss dogs. Black women are down because black men are down, not because black men ain't shit. But Oprah would tell you the reason we're down is black men ain't shit. If you see the color purple, for the most part, white people are okay. They're not rural Georgia. There are no problems with white folks. I'm trying to think, where the hell in Georgia does Oprah Winfrey and them write a script off of? My family had to flee Georgia. Both sides had to get out of there. Georgia in 1930 had the largest population of blacks of any state in the country. Black folks had to leave Georgia. Black folks had a huge number of blacks in Georgia in the 50s. And people for initially were leaving Georgia because it was rough. Oprah Winfrey's telling you that you don't need black men and telling basically black men make it as best you can. Well, there's only two sexes. If the women don't want us, I guess we'll end up like Stedman, perpetual bachelors forever. And see, Stedman has some money. I tell you, I can't wait until I get my ship to come in. If I have to like colonize Brazil or someplace, we're going to have some kind of family, even if it's for a couple of years. At least try to have one, not
Brother
just
Short.
completely fail.
Brother
Damn.
Short. Hold
Go
on
ahead.
one
Go ahead.
second.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
We got the Negro joining us in this section of Pat Talk number 4. The Negro, are you there, brother?
Yes, sir. And I do got some questions. And I do got some statements. And salute to you, brother Chef. And salute to you as always, Dr. Short. And thank you for that information last night. It worked wonders for a young black brother like me. But that's besides the point. I want to talk about this Pat Talk, which y'all talking about right now. One of the things I saw going on in social media right after you ran that nice purple slurple space, some woman from the Fraudman Squad talked about, so speaking on when black men speak on black women's behavior, they consider that as gender warring. I find that that's disrespectful. I find that that's downplaying the condition of what we're going through as a people, and us not being taken seriously.
Mhm.
What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm going to tell you that many of the feminists in our community, radical lesbian feminists like Audre Lorde, and another radical feminist, Shirley Chisholm, and there are others. Many of these people are blacks from the Caribbean who would not dare try to advance the same sort of agenda in the British Caribbean because they would be dealt with. So for all this talk about how brutal and how mean and how so forth Black American men are, having traveled, in fact, I'm going to use a quote from a white Unitarian Universalist minister that I remember hearing back when I was in divinity school. And the white lady said that when Black men arrived in Singapore, the women celebrated. That's Asian, she's white. Everybody was delighted. She's talking about the women. Could not wait for Black men to come to town. For our Black women that don't know anything, which is the majority, the only place in the world where Black American men get disrespected and the way that we are, the only place where we get disrespected totally is in the United States of America. No group of women and or men typically show as much disrespect for us as we get. I mean, we get here. I've been all over. Most other places, it's interesting. The reputation of Black men is very high. England, Scotland, Ireland, France. I've been everywhere. Black American men, in fact, are seen as a good catch, not a bad catch. I don't know how it goes for Black American women. I have my suspicions. If you don't cook, you don't clean, you're aggressive, surly, a lot of behavior that Oprah and them are promoting, that's not going to get you anything abroad. In fact, there is a sense that American women in general are masculine and difficult to get along with. American women are seen as easy, uh, difficult to get along with, and not wife material. Ask around. So you can tell the lady, go to hell, or in fact, get her name. Let's see if she's a U.S. citizen. I believe that Donald Trump will be president again. I will happily call ICE. We have people who come to this country. they get involved in the Black American situation. They have no business in our affairs. If that's Audre Lorde, she's a Caribbean gay woman who hated men. And a lot of the anger that these Caribbean women would have towards Caribbean men would be taken out on Black American men. Black American men get blamed for what everybody does. A lot of your feminists are, I'm going to just say Jewish women, are very big in this feminist movement. If they're miserable about their lives with their fathers, that's their problem. But the feminism that they push, where they concede these very dangerous ideas, the most receptive community for these toxic, degenerative ideas seem to be Black American women who think, I guess, they're getting an upgrade. Do we have problems in the Black community? Oh, yes, we do. Is there incest, rape, abuse? All yes, yes, and yes again. But is that all we have? The answer is no. And violence and molestation and abuse. I'm going to just say in our community, and it is terrible, our situation. But I know people that are in social work. You'd be amazed at the Asians and the Middle Easterners and Africans. Oh my God. In fact, if you make any African friends, you'll find out a lot of African families break up within their first 4 or 5 years in the United States, if that long. Once African women get here and they experience this American thing, they divorce and break up and leave. Oh, yes, they do. People who don't have the same pressures on their family system for employment and other things. But one of the main places that they get the Black man, I can't make my own vagina. I can't make my own food. I can't make my own money. I can't make my own air or water, nor can I make, well, I can't make those things. I have to be in a position to acquire them. Money is a form of control. The fact that you've got to have something to exchange makes you dependent on a system. If I create a system that doesn't allow you to have the exchange, then I've destroyed you. It isn't that you're a bad person, it's that you're being stripped of resources. And one of the interesting things, as we talk about that, one of the main things that I've noticed personally that I've encountered, and it's called barriers to entry. It's in economics and barriers to entry to getting into the marketplace to getting money. Any of you Black men ever applied for a job and the HR person that did the hiring was a Black woman? Have you ever dealt with a really insane Black woman when it came down to applying for a job and they crossed the line between personal and do all kinds of stuff that should have been like a civil rights violation? Have you ever had that experience? Did y'all know that they put
All the time.
a lot of Black women in jobs to keep Black men out? Forgive me, these goddamn Black feminists block Black men from getting work, and then we get mocked for not having an income to pay for the dinner or the fur coat or the rent or to be a father, or to be a husband, or to be a fiance. If you've ever had a Black woman use her authority in that moment to castrate you. And by the way, nobody goes and shoots HR people or so forth. But when they began to change the job system in this country, they knew if they could put Black women in as HR, Black men wouldn't get hired. That says something quite insidious about a lot of Black women. What it says is that Black women are known as backstabbers, cutthroat, disloyal, traitors to their own, in particular the men in their group. If you put a Latino woman as an HR person, she's going to hire Latino men. You put any kind of woman in, she's going to fight for the men in her group. Put a sister in, it's iffy. That's I've observed. So, brothers, come on, respond to that. Respond.
Yeah, it comes across to me as I'm a woman and I say so. No different from I'm white and I say so. That's
Chef,
how it came across to
you.
Came across to me.
Now, Chef, have you ever had that experience of a black woman having the hiring thing, and it's like they're going the extra mile to rasp you in the process, and they seem to be enjoying
I want to contribute to that point, brother Dr. Short. In the hiring process, no. However, when renting, and you have to deal with property management, and a mammy, you have that mammy in that position. Particularly often a Caribbean. Caribbeans or someone who is not of, not Black American background. They act as like overseers and, and they really talk down to you.
Sure,
and it was a very interesting time because my father lived in an apartment, and I went to go pay for his parking spot. And the lady immediately started interrogating me. It was no hi. It wasn't no how you doing. It was none of that. It was an immediate aggression, and I didn't feel welcome at all from her. But her boss, who happened to be a Caucasian guy in the back office, as soon as he says something to her, oh yes, boss, yes. Now she's all light and airy. You understand? Light on her feet, really pleasant. But then as soon as she turned back to address me,
it was nasty again. Okay, so she put on the the mean face, the stud face.
That's right.
Okay. Now, by the way, we don't have these discussions. You've probably never been asked this question before, gentlemen, because black men endure all this stuff silently. And my issue with the color purple and all sorts of things is that it is only one side to this. To me, if Mr's an idiot and Mr's father's still alive, did Mr's mother die in childbirth? Did he grow up without the love of a mother? And was the father an idiot that brutalized the kids? And so he's not treating women special. He's just nasty to everyone because he doesn't know anything. They don't probe into depth when they do these novels or films. Basically, black man's just a bastard. He should be castrated. They all should be wiped out. And that's that. In fact, there's a book, pull it up, Doc. It's called A Portrait of Johnny by Calivia Haran. Calivia Haran, if she's still alive, is a black lesbian writer. Was one of my teachers in school. And Portrait of Johnny, she had this science fiction book where all the men were killed, but they took all their sperm. They had sperm banks, and they would raise boys until they were old enough to have sperm, and then they would kill them. So they have a society without men. And that's seen as great lesbian feminist literature. It's a black woman writing about killing off all the men. Do you realize if I were a man and I did a book about killing off all the women, I couldn't teach in any university and have the job. The women would be up, they'd be protests, they feel uncomfortable. How come when women do this insane stuff, it's okay? Oh, it's women stuff. No, it's really bad.
Is it called A Portrait of Johnny Ray?
A Portrait of John. I don't know if I haven't seen the book in 30 plus years. It's Calivia Haran, the author.
Hey, Dr. Short, I wanted to respond to that question.
Let's stay on this. I want to see if he has the right book, please. So do you have it, Chef? He may not.
Yeah, I'm not.
No. It may not be in print, thank God. But I'm going to say this, and then you bring right in, Brother Rollin. What most of you don't know, these things that that happen in black families, or whatever you want to call the things you have now. Guess who has the fastest rising rate of suicide in America right now? Whose rate of suicide is going through the ceiling?
Black youth children.
Black male children, damn it. No, black boys are killing themselves. There's so much toxicity from these black mothers and women's and so forth. It is killing these boys in frightening numbers. It's killing. And you know what? No one cries out because it's black. If it were black girls, I can tell you, if no other reason, black men would be complaining because that's someone that they can't screw in a couple of years.
But Brother Short, before you go there, you know it's going to be turned back on the men because they're going to say, "Oh, he's not in the house."
Hell, they've been driven out of the house, and they've been driven out of the house. And let's be honest, 70% of the requests for divorce in this country are done by women. I would suspect it's higher for black women. I think it may be 80-90%. For our community, black women are more likely to get divorced than any other group of women in the country.
Fact. Come on. Yes.
I mean, I think white women, they're like 130 divorces per 1,000. Latino women, it's a little bit more than that, and black women, something like 650. I mean, in fact, black women have a higher rate of divorce. I think it's 1.5 times that of black men. So black men aren't getting divorced at the same rate of black women, meaning that black women, and this feminism and other stuff, have this whole thing of using the police and other coercive state things to deal with everything instead of dealing in a more or picking good folks to be with in the first. So you get a criminal and you're surprised that you can't deal with them. But of course, one thing that's really insidious about the color purple is that who in here knows of black folks with arranged marriages and people being sold to each other? A woman being sold to a man that's abusive to her. Someone tell me that that's common. That's a black American.
I haven't seen it.
It's not common, but I've seen it down south. That's like Blue Moon.
It's not the norm for a woman to be given away like in a third world country where the woman's property. That happens, but it's not universal. It's not, I mean, so these things are terrible situations. But you know what? The majority of these people that are getting married at 13 and 14 and 15 in America are not black people. They're Asians, they're others, they're white folks in Appalachia. There's some black, but this stuff, it's not even us, but Alice Walker, this beast, decides to put this on black people. She literally wrote a book. That's why she got a Pulitzer Prize. This is a Pulitzer Prize. But if you read this book, this isn't fine literature. I've read Chaucer. I've read Richard Wright. I've read Faulkner. This is garbage. But it was an attack on the black family, attack on the faith of black people. It's an attack on black men. And a black woman got a prize. Judas got silver. Benedict Arnold didn't die broke. Traitors get paid. That's why so many of us are scammer, traitor, backstabber, apostate hellions, because there's a reward for harming one another. You said something and you got cut off, Brother Rahman. Please make certain that you make your point.
Yeah, I wanted to touch upon the experience with black women in employment, or I would say melanated women who are not from the lineage. There was experience when I was working at as a counselor, right, for a community college, and one of the things that kind of irked me from this backstabbing culture was when it was Black History Month. She didn't want to support anything that was dealing with Black history. She didn't want to talk about that. that the civil rights that we were using actually created this organization to grant other people the education that was needed. She basically erased all that and just said it was for everybody, and she's like, what did it matter? And that was the point that kind of hurt the reason why I left off the job, because she didn't care about me as a person or care about my culture, and she was kind of really inflammatory about that.
Now let's come back to that. That's another problem. If you sit down and you think about it, in the original color purple, at a certain point, well, no, let's drop that. Let me go somewhere else. Another problem that we have that's in the culture, and you mentioned it, is all of these alliances that you see people making. Often it's our black women running that can make an alliance with anybody, white lesbians, studs, Wicca, you name it, Palestinians, everybody, but you can't work with black men.
Come on.
This is fascinating to me that black men are impossible, but you can work with everybody. And yet we took the time, all of us here on the Angry Black Men's Book Club, to read about how Shirley Chisholm constantly talked about sexism, but the real problem in her campaign for the presidency in 1972 were the racist white women. Her racist white feminists didn't work with the black women. But when you see these films and documentaries on Shirley Chisholm, the enemies of Shirley Chisholm's campaign for president were black men. And it's interesting when these intersectional things happen, everything is shared. Am I right, brother? That our history, and it's everybody. It's everybody when it comes down to a movement or a benefit. But when it comes down to blame, black men stand alone.
Facts.
So when you hear about violence against black women, they don't talk about white men, because we have thousands of black women incarcerated. And you know what? There's been no real effort to deal with the prison rape of black women. I'm just throwing it out there. Black women are disproportionately raped in the armed services. Powerful white men, they care so much about the army and the military, they haven't corrected that. And by the way, you're Me Too and you're feminist and you're black, all of this kind of stuff. Things that are atrocious that happen to black women, um, where they're overrepresented. There's nothing, not even from black women and black women's organizations. It's interesting that you have black women that are being made homeless by the tens of thousands presently, and the Secretary of HUD is a black woman. And more black women are being thrown into the streets. HUD is setting up ways for illegals to get vouchers and all to move into housing. And black women's vouchers are being rejected. And yet the Secretary of HUD is a black woman. Were it a black man, wouldn't he be called fag and Uncle Tom and traitor? But when it's a black woman not doing anything, well, she's a goddess.
She's a sister girl.
And yeah, well, she's made it. It's the same way that Kamala Harris, who's an embarrassment to everything except for women who've used their body to advance their career. She's the decathlon champion. She's got gold medals in the mail. Black women are going to be punished economically when the Biden administration ends, and they're going to cite Kamala. And yet she's not a black American woman. And yet black American women got behind her. And yet when they don't have certain positions and all, they'll be angrier with Clarence Thomas, who voted against affirmative action going to people that were not lineage based, than say a person who's actually doing something that hurts folks. It's very interesting. Not that we're trying to make Clarence Thomas a hero, but if he does something that we don't like, we come after him because he's a black man. The black woman's a failure, like Karen Bass in California, or even here. Right now, here in Washington, D.C., you have black women, some of them that are disabled from job injuries or whatever. They're receiving 5, 6, 8, 10, 12, $30 a month in supplemental nutrition program funds for food, with a black female mayor who's deliberately withholding SNAP money from SNAP recipients. In other words, you have a black gay woman who's starving black women, and only recently are people complaining. If that were a black man who was giving hundreds of dollars in benefits to illegals and starving black grandmothers, there'd be outrage. And the reason I bring this up is that, and I'm trying to go somewhere, is that we have a immoral compass as black people. Oprah Winfrey's just a great example, or an exemplar of it, where we're able to look at unflattering or ugly or negative things that black men do, not all, but some. But when it comes to black women, two things kick in. Women either go silent like submarines, or they go into denial, or they go on the defense. They take the three things: denial, they get defensive, or they go deaf. 3 Ds.
Run that back one more time. One more
They
time.
they denial, defensive, deaf. And then black men who are always looking to beg for some sexual props. Black men begin to act as females, and they begin to blame black men for what black women are responsible for, to be heroes. And they also defend and deny. So black men do it too. They become deaf. And that, let me add one more. They become deaf and dumb. All of a sudden, black men don't know what's happening when it's a black man woman situation. They're dumb. They can't see a man's side. Well, maybe unless they're twisted, maybe if they're LGBTQ, because they may want to screw the guy. Okay, maybe they're a power bottom, or they're deaf. They can't hear two sides of the situation, or they deny, well, the father wasn't in the home. Well, look, if the father's in the hole in prison, okay, mom's got to carry on. And they also do the denial. And so we don't believe in accountability for a lot of stuff. A lot of black folks aren't accountable, but we really go that to a further extent with our sisters, and we can't afford it. I want to say to y'all that I was in a conversation with a group of women, and there was a feminist, and yeah, no, I don't like feminists. And the feminist was talking about how these women couldn't find a man. And they would throw that out. This is something that a lot of feminists will do in a conversation. When they get frustrated, they will blame black men collectively for what's not happening for them as an individual. And that's the one thing I did learn from Harvard: how to argue with feminists. And I said to her, sister, you don't want a man. Okay. You truly don't. And in fact, there is no man shortage, because a lot of you rather be with a woman than a man. That's number. So there is no man shortage.
Come on.
You guys have chosen.
Man, my man, windmilling.
You have chosen women over men, so there is no man shortage. So I don't want to hear that. This is because 50% of the black men in this country are single. So that meant that's half of us being single meant that we've been passed over. And so that means that you guys have preferred women or anybody over us. And I went on to say, there's no excuse for the situation that you have. Because she came back and says, well, we, our children don't have this, and our children don't do this. And when the woman, she's by herself. And I said to her, dear, I was in Congo a few years ago. I told her, and do you know the kids were doing, uh, they were doing calculus in the third grade in Africa, where they didn't have textbooks and they didn't have fluorescent lights and they didn't have water fountains and they didn't have running water, and the teachers aren't paid that much. And I said, and a lot of these kids came from single parent households. I said, when I was in Congo, the children whose mothers had been gang raped by soldiers were far better disciplined than what I see and a lot of black kids. Now, as much as you're complaining, excuse me, miss, you had WIC, you had SNAP, you had Section 8, you had free lunch, free breakfast, after school programs. You had your public transportation subsidized for your children. Public education was free for you. The textbooks were free for you. Um, Tutoring, psychiatry, whatever was free to you. How do your children, after 12 years of public education, come out illiterate? And African kids in the war zone can outdo your children on the SAT test. They didn't have a man either. Maybe they were taking time to be mothers. They weren't just beefing, he's not here, so I'm not going to feed my kids. I have a friend of the family's, a meal for her kids was a can of what are those things, SpaghettiOs, because she had to go out and party. That's not motherhood. That's whoredom with kids on the side.
Come on.
So you're not going to PTA, you're not, and so yes, the man isn't there, but damn it, you're there. You aren't doing shit either. And you're living in your dad's house, so you don't really have to pay for that either. We don't confront that we have, and that's what I said to her at the end of it. For every sorry man, there's a sorry woman.
Talk that talk.
And they're the ones making the children. And the good guys like me have to hear your carping and bitching. Says, because the guys that you're talking about would have long since either walked off, cussed you out, or knocked you out. And I just said to her, I'm talking to you this way because the first time we spoke, you totally disrespected me. I don't even know you. I didn't say anything to you or again. And you heard a black male voice and you proceeded to be just psychologically violent towards me. And I'm in a room full of women trying to support women, and you pissed in my face. And I know this, and unlike a lot of men, and that's why I don't give a damn about feminists. I've worked and volunteered in groups run by, started by, staffed largely by females. You want to talk about some disrespect and abuse that goes around? Be a black man and work with some of these groups that work with youth, whatever. And a lot of the black women are just they're just disgusting. I just have to call it what it is. Like not speak to you, just go out of the way. And a white guy walk up, whatever, just be nice to them. Now that wasn't in every situation. I had some good ones. When I worked for the Urban League, I had a phenomenal boss. It's been like God, 30 years. Miss Hyder Houston of the Urban League, wonderful woman, beautiful lady. Adore her. I will never forget her name because it was so wonderful working with a professional black woman that was helpful, supportive, affirming, and they helped you. That's rare. Normally, what you encountered were folks who wanted to attack you for being a man. And I wonder how many of them, because when I really began to like work and do jobs and all, it followed the color purple coming out. And that color purple thing, I feel poison the black race, and they're bringing it back out to pass this poison to another generation to keep it up. Oprah was given $100 million to further intensify conflict between black men and women. Not something that shows black men and women healing. Okay. I always tell people the story of the young woman that was my student who was like a week from delivering a baby, and she was going to go and get a chop shop abortion. And wow, of course I hate abortion. Abortion's murder. Uh, and people like Oprah would never show someone like me get with a young student female, pray with her, and tell her, look, I can't take your child. I wish I could. I like kids, shoot. But if you do this, you know that you're taking your baby's life. You need to have a funeral. You need to deal with this for what it is. And you better tell your mother before you do it. Because if she finds out that you killed a grandchild, if you think your relationship with your mother is bad now, let her find out that you killed her first grandchild. If I can help you, if there's something I can do, I'd do it. Okay. That young woman didn't abort her child. That woman thanked me for talking to her. What you need to know is if my boss, who was female, had found out I had said anything to a young woman about the abortion, I would have been fired. The woman would have fired me because, a chop shop, she could die as well as the baby. That doesn't matter. Because I'm a man, I shouldn't say anything. It's interesting. This feminist is basically we should just all gauze our eyes, cover our mouths, and just have our wallets open and let women help themselves. Just go the fuck away and let women have whatever they want. Fuck all that, ladies. We're not going anywhere. In fact, I'm calling on black men to be more assertive, to push back against this shit. It's insane. The reason the kids are running wild is their fathers aren't there to stomp some of their asses. And yes, it's like the young boy, I think in Ohio, 14 years old, stupid ass 14-year-old black kid is trying to break into the room of this girl. The mother keeps calling the police. She's got 3 daughters she's trying to protect. And this stupid ass black male keeps trying to break in the house. And the mother, in panic, fires at the window and kills this 14-year-old boy. My attitude is, oh, well. Because what was he going to do in that girl's room? That boy's life probably would have been spared had he had a father to put a foot in his ass. All of this crazy behavior in our community, it comes from the lack of stability because, frankly, women with your emotional disposition, elements of being a woman is unstable. Men balance women out as women balance men out. We need each other. Damn feminism, and definitely damn Oprah Winfrey.
Hey, brother Short, before you go too much further, I got something. I want to throw you. You wanted some juice. You wanted to get some stats. Right? Now, check this out. And brother Negro, if you're still there, I know you had another point to make. I'm going to spin it back to you. But let's get some stats on this because in our culture, the saying goes that niggas don't kill themselves. Well, the hell if they don't.
Well, it's like the stat that black women don't kill babies. It's a goddamn lie. Man.
Let me throw you the alley-oop.
You know what? They could make yellow tape the new Kotex in our community.
Well, check this out, ladies and gentlemen. In the Observer, a study was done, and this is from 2022, y'all. That at Yema University, I believe, they did a study and they found that just in the year, even prior to the shutdown, ladies and gentlemen, okay, shutdown in 2020, right? That the increase of male youth suicides had increased by 80%.
80% increase, yes.
80%, y'all. So what we are finding, and listen, I'm coming from a place where my cousin, not just my cousin, but a couple of my high school, my grammar school friends, they killed themselves. They deleted themselves. Okay. And, and it's, it has a combination of things that contribute to that. However, we're dealing with a broken family dynamic, completely broken. And
no, it's actually, we have a matriarchy. Let's call this what this is. It's not broken. It's a matriarchal family system. In fact, in sociology, it's called matrifocal. A matrifocal family system is what we have. And we're not the only people that have it. The Puerto Ricans, who are notorious for delinquency and crime and drug addiction, poor Puerto Ricans have a matrifocal system. In other words, for all of the little asshole, stupid niggas in New York, the ones that wear kufis, that act like they're smart, these dumbass people that call the women goddesses and shit, and in Africa, the women ran the family. The dudes that talk like that are dudes who want to screw a bunch of women and not be responsible for it. Okay, and folk can say what they want. And let me just say so. Who's Renuka Rashidi? Why are you running around in your 70s still trying to screw young girls? These people who talk all this matriarchal stuff, it's a cover for people to be hoes. Men are too. Some men are hoes. And it isn't a good thing. It may feel good, but the social consequences of you putting seed every damn where is that we have all this confusion. Sit down and try to help someone do some family research and everything's busted up where you don't know who your mama is, you just you're here. We have millions of black folks who don't know. They don't know who their own family is. I'm not talking about 4 or 5 generations ago. Okay. Because, I think I was talking to Brother Robin last night, and I was talking about my grandfather I can trace back to 1127. I'm talking about like your dad, your biological dad, his brothers, his sisters, your mother and her sisters and brothers. So all of this, and so this is one thing I'll tell you about a lot of liar, fraud, so-called conscious community sellouts, is whenever they want to do something degenerate and make it look nice, you know what they say? They say it's Africa. You know who else does that? Racist white supremacists. When there's something that's bad, a disease, they say Africa, and that's the cover. A lot of these folks who've never traveled to Africa, don't know anybody from Africa, don't read anything. If they go to Africa, you go to Egypt or you go to a tourist place, you don't meet real Africans. And they'll tell you, and have they really talked to African folks who have fathers, who have multiple wives, and them talk about the conflict between the children of the different mothers? Let's have that real conversation, this matriarchy that these whore-ass Black American men want. So you make it seem as if it's Africa, right? So I don't have to be responsible in America. It's bullshit. It's criminal. It's nasty. And it's insulting to the Africans. We do some stupid stuff that would make foreigners angry too, to have dumb ideas about people, but never took the time to really think. You get where I'm coming from? It's sort of like, how can I describe this? Let's a good example. There are a lot of black folks who think Africa's one country, which is ridiculous. And I've talked to people that are that damn stupid. And they see this one country, and I wish they wouldn't ask me a question, because when you try to explain it, in reality, a lot of our folks are lazy and it's all surface. Oh, yeah, Africa, Africa. Well, okay. What about it? Well, you've been to going to Africa. I mean, there's so many different countries in Africa. If I've been to 15, that's that's still not a good sample. You need to do a good 30 to be in the game. But at
Come on.
least I've done more than 10. Okay. We don't do anything. And that's the same way with these ladies when they start talking about relationships. Or you keep dating the same sorry ass kind of man. It isn't that all the men are sorry, just the ones you cock your legs open for. Have you ever met people, they keep sleeping with the same types of persons? They never break off or get themselves together. And they either put that on, well, slavery, the slave family, bullshit. People risked their lives all over the country when slavery ended to find their family. They heard someone was sold to Texas. They may walk from Delaware to Texas trying to find their mother, their father. People gave up everything to try to stay together. So when they say, "Oh, the black family slave," no, I think our family was doing, in some instances, better in slavery than what it's doing right now. At least they knew men were men and women were women. Maybe there was coercion and attack on them and there's brutality in them, but there was something. And the reason there had to have been some kind of system is because I was just looking up my great great grandfather and other people down in Georgia. Their families came out of slavery and they were able to make things. In spite of getting whipped, sold, beat, there was some continuity, some community, some sense of patrimony. If it's my come, I'm the one. If I bust a nut, I'm going to be responsible. If I drop a seed, it's my responsibility. And for the ladies, a baby isn't an abscess that needs to be removed.
Come on.
I
Come
mean,
on.
it's just so that's something I we really need to stop. This idea that all the women are bad, that's a lie. All the men are bad, that's a lie. Oh, slavery just totally destroyed us. We just didn't have any morals, whatever. We still haven't got bullshit. Oh, it's African. Or the answer is polygamy, just if we all have 10, 12 wives. Um, there are problems in African families. If you go to Africa, I remember being in Nigeria, and these people who had issues with their kids, if they say this kid is evil or a witch, they throw these kids out in the street. You don't see that happen here with our busted up family, with slavery and racism and white supremacy and all the black men ain't shit and all the black women twerking with ripples in their ass. We don't throw kids out in the street that quickly. That's accepted in certain places. That's down in southeast Nigeria. Kid give you too much mouth, you got an evil spirit. This child's a witch. Out you go. There's no foster care. Out.
Don't go too far with that, Brother Short. I want you to touch on the magic, because that's going to lead us back to the magic part that you were touching on earlier with the Oprah stuff. But before we get to that, Brother Negro, you had something else on your mind, and then we're going to swing it to Dr. Short.
Yeah. I gave you something in your email. This is an article from the National Library of Medicine, right? I had to when I was in class, I had to do something on cyberbullying, and what I found out was about the black youth, and specifically black men youth or young boys, that have been systematically targeted. One of the things that they talk about is, from the stats real quick, is black men, boys, and men, they make up vastly of 80% of the completed suicides in the population. Also, in the past 2 decades, the
Spin that back
suicide.
one more time for me, brother Negro. Spin that
Yeah,
back for us.
yeah,
in the back of the bus over here. Spin that one more time. That stat.
yeah, yes, sir. I will. Black boys and men account for the vast majority of 80% of the completed suicides in the population. That was based off the study. They also concluded that in the past 2 decades, the suicide attempt rose by 73% between black adolescents, boys, and girls, while the injuries by attempt increased by 122% for black adolescent boys. So it's extremely high for black young boys. Moreover, in the same time span, and rates of suicide deaths among black men increased by 25.3%. So my thing is to the Mammy Kamala Harris's types and all that stuff. Yes, black women black women dying in birth labor is very important, But what about the black men's mental health? What about the black men losing their life expectancy as a group due to the fact of COVID? I don't hear policies. I don't hear our women advocating for these things that they know that are evident in our community, and not acknowledging these things, that how it's detrimental to our community as entirety. We're not just talking about 1 or 2 or 3 black young men or boys. We're talking about from a collective standpoint when I'm reading off these statistics, and that's why they're so alarming. And this is from, I sent you the email too if they want to look at the source that I'm talking about. This is from the National Library of Medicine, NHLM, or NIA. So I'm not grabbing something that's off the shelf that's not useful. I'm grabbing some hard facts coming from Big Daddy government themselves.
Phenomenal stat. Jeez.
I want to speak to one of the persons that said he sounds like he's white. And my comment to today's musing is, what does white sound like? And you're black. Is that the best contribution you can make as a black person? Because he just brought something major. Even if he was white, he brought something of significance to the discussion. You didn't. So your melanin unknown, your fact that you aren't white, which you might well be, that's sufficient for you to be given weight. This is a disrespect thing that we do. And if you're a black man, that's what I would call brother fucker. Because to me, I would be more reactive to a person who wasn't adding something to the conversation than what they look like or what they sounded like. So what does black sound like? That's a stereotype that we have to be one way or sound one way or the other. We're the same people that want everybody to embrace and like us, but we don't like or embrace one another. They took the time to share something. A thank you versus, "Ooh, you sound like you're white." A lot of black men, I'm sorry, I have to say to you, we have a very strong bitch culture among black men. You may be able to fight, you could kill me and all that kind of shit. It doesn't mean anything because we kill each other all the time.
Come on.
But we have a very, very petty black male culture. It seems like it's not petty because you're talking tough, but it's petty. And that's the other part of the color purple, that Mr.'s petty. Mr.'s father's petty. And the pimp culture is petty. And the brother fucker culture is petty. It's jive, it's empty, it's shallow. And I joke all the time. I mean, I love jokes and we could do all this other kind of stuff. But the thing about jokes that's most effective is when it's not stupid. And that's what people need to know. If you make people laugh or you do comedy or whatever, I guess I can do it a little bit. Honestly, there's a cross between offensive and funny. And most people, certain people, you shouldn't do it if you don't know how to measure it. And what does white sound like? So I guess if I'm stupid talking, no, when I was like young, yeah, we were like, do you realize when you say that that's black, that means you have a white supremacist understanding of who we are and actually who you are. You 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 don't think highly of black people that are intelligent, and so that is a problem. And by the way, I thank God for folks who sound white, who could argue before the Supreme Court and other places to get us the few rights we do have. They wouldn't have gotten anywhere if they talked like a lot of these mumble rap idiots out here. It's a disgrace that we think, in particular, it's a black men have to be stupid to be male. That's sort of like, and that's the thing I used to say to my students. If
that's that brute mentality. Yeah, call it out, Dr. Short.
Yeah, well, it's basically it's stupid. But I'm going to just tell you, I said to the young folks, with all due respect, I said to the young men, if being dumb and illiterate made you straight and hard, why so many men fucking each other in prison that can't read or write or speak well? Why is that the case? Why are the black men disproportionately on drugs and all this other stuff the ones who don't read or write? The police are more likely to beat the shit out of someone that talks like this so-called black thing than if you sounded like someone black. If they did rough you up, they might have a problem. I'm thinking about the last time I got stopped by the police, thank God, was 20 years ago. And the police were harassing us in Los Angeles, of all places. And I didn't say much. When the policeman got my wallet and he saw my business card and he heard how I was speaking and he saw Amnesty International, they got scared. It's in the middle of the night. You got the lights on me, my hands on the roof of the car, and y'all have guns on me. But I sounded like a person that there would be problems if they gave me problems. I'm not strong. I can't fight. I have no gun. But I sound like one of those Negroes. If they took me downtown, did something, it would be a problem. The cops and everybody else, today's musing, when they think that you're a broke, illiterate black person, they fuck you over even more so than if you're a black person that they see as uppity. Getting jobs and getting everything else, if we can get it, often depends on how you come across verbally. It's a death sentence economically, socially, and everything else for us to be ignorant, illiterate, innumerate, and inarticulate. It's nothing to esteem. We should be ashamed that other people come to this country with English as a second language and they outdo us. We should be ashamed that our favorite use of time is watching those few people that make it into pro sports who only maybe work 3, 4, 5 years. And if you've been watching, ex-athletes have been dying all over the country in appalling numbers. No more than 50, 55 years max. I'm seeing a lot of athletes dying in their 30s and 40s and 20s.
Wake it up.
In their 20s. So those who make it through, who make this money in sports, which is where too many dumbass black men put their attention, the ones that didn't know how to read, the ones that see in college that they push through, when they come out, when they're used up, they become an embarrassment to their communities and everybody around them. They kill themselves, they're on drugs, they get into trouble. I was on the phone within the last few weeks, 2 weeks, with an ex football player for the Oakland Raiders and the Rams, on drugs, on crack. A lot of folks who don't learn to read, write, think, articulate, their life situation changes and they're not prepared for the shift. It's a death sentence for black men not to know how to read, write, or articulate. And in fact, a lot of the men that abuse and hurt women are the ones that can't read, write, or articulate. There's a link between crime and literacy. There's a link between poverty and literacy. So we look at all these things and keep talking about the white man, the white man. Well, the white man's not keeping us from knowing how to speak or how to read or how to even articulate. These guys can't talk to a woman. That's why they be beating on them. We're not talking, hold it. We're not talking about black men. We were talking about black boys who have the highest rising rate of suicide.
Come on.
Okay, so you didn't listen. I'm gonna give you some time out. If you want some time out, you can go. I said black boys. This came up because I said black boys. Everybody else heard me say boys.
Let me get a goofy some stats here, because again, regardless of where the information is coming from, these are the stats for your ass. And shout out to my Negro for bringing it to us, because listen, let's be very clear about something. This is coming from one of your trusted agencies, the CDC, from your white daddy giving you the stats on how they get niggas out the way. Okay? So let me go ahead and read this to the slow person in the back again, just in case they didn't understand what our brother just presented. And this is the youth. Again, we're talking about youth. Okay? And just in case one of you niggas want to go and say, oh, this is old information. Well, just to be very clear, this report came out this year, February of this year.
Okay? And this is what I used for my thesis paper in the classroom for advocating against my people, where they downplay my grades, family. This is what they do to black intelligent people.
And pause for 1 second, because someone's talking about this sound white. I need to make this very clear, because a lot of people don't know a lot about language. First and foremost, who made English a literary language? Who made English a literary language? Because since we're speaking English, at least this is what we're told. And for everybody reading, I want you to see the brother's comment is that this guy sounds like he's white. First and foremost, black people made English a language. So it's impossible for a language that black people made to be white. It is our ignorance, our lack of knowledge and research and study, and it's our internalization acceptance of stereotypes of racist white people that leads us to think what black is or is not. Let me just say to you, look him up. They will not tell you who he is, but his name is Robert Browning. The laureate of English poetry and literature is a man named Browning, a non-white British man. Shakespeare did not write his plays. It's a black woman whose name I'm not remembering. So your idea, the archetype of English literature, comes from people who are black Britons. And the research is already coming out that many of the people that ruled Great Britain, including not just Queen Charlotte, but the ruling class of Britain, were people who had Moorish and African lineage. And I want to go further to say to you that the English, the English language, which is a combination of French, German, Celtic, and other things, but the people who brought culture to England were the Normans. And the Normans spoke French. And I'm speaking to you as a descendant of the de Lancaster family. And by the way, that's a title. The name is actually something French, but I'm not going to get into that. The point I'm going to make to you is that the English elite initially spoke French for hundreds of years. The English language was developed when people who had African heritage ruled Britain, meaning that the language that you speak has an African root, and the American English has a Bantu root. And French and Latin, and where the Latins get their language from, they got it from the Etruscans were not white people, and the Itali were not white people, and the ancient Greeks were not white people. So a Eurocentric mind leads one to give attribution to people who didn't start it. And if you want to know what descendants of British royalty look like, well, I'm from the House of Lancaster. I look like a person of royal blood from England, as does Meghan Markle, and there are more of us over here. The British government knows that we're here. It's our own people who don't know anything about who or what we are or what we've been. I recommend that you look up Dr. Clyde Winters. And so we can go on and on about how Black the entire world is, including Europe. As I've learned genetically, not just the English, but I have that DNA line from the House of Bourbons, the rulers of France, the rulers of Spain, the rulers of Belgium, the rulers of many places. I'm not tripping off of it. I'm happy to be a Black American. But since we're going to talk about what's white, and by the way, I'm going to say this and I'm going to stop. I didn't learn about this looking for white ancestry. I learned this trying to learn who were slaves from Africa in the family. Much to my shock, I didn't find in certain branches people directly from Africa. And the questions I've been asking people like Dr. Winters is, why does my grandfather, who could serve as a white man in the Union Army, why is everybody saying that they're Black? And he had to explain. In fact, I found the term for these people when they would come from England who were not white English people were called freemen. It's a very common name in America. Part of it comes from people who were Black, who lived in Europe, who were sent to the Americas, expelled by Oliver Cromwell. Some history for you. Let's move back to the color purple. In fact, it's just really important for us to grow up, to accept one another, to like one another, to respect one another, and for station identification. Chef C, please tell us about your channel. You have On There Next as your channel, and just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, hold on, Brother Short, because that shit really got me hot. Okay.
Mm.
And
Hot.
I really don't like Negro thought process.
We need to like ourselves and give a damn enough to do that and not look for reasons to be unhappy. This is the very thing we're saying about the sisters in HR wanting to be unhappy with you as a candidate for a job instead of receiving you. And if you're no good, tell you no, but if you're good, let you in.
Right.
We need to stop working so hard. Other people see this in us, and that's why they have the businesses and everything. We're being replaced and erased. But in part, it's our fault. It's our fault. And I'm going to go back and say that Black people, in particular Black men, if you ever want to see Black women stop being pork chop, fit, radical lesbian, Satanist, stud, thugs, we're going to have to change and up our game. And part of being a Black man, a real man in any group, is knowing how to get along with other men that create military, socio-political, and economic units. If we're running around like little girls, oh, her dress is a tear, and then we're looking for stuff to be mad at, which is a catty, brotherfucker, bitch-like behavior. And that's why I always say most of the bitches that I know in the community are Black. There's a woman that's a bitch here and there, like Oprah, she's a bitch. Like, she's a bitch, but Clyburn is a bitch to me. Okay, Hakeem Jeffries is a bitch to me. Um, I see a lot of male bitches. A lot of Black cops are bitches. I see lots of Black men that are bitchy. We're more bitchy than the women are. And it's interesting, the women, I guess, to make up for us being bitches, they become more masculine and hard. We need to do a transfer, a swap. We need more women to be more bitchy and less macho, and for men to be less bitchy and more macho. We can do a swap. What y'all say? Y'all want to do a swap? And by the way, oh God, truth be upon him and peace be upon Kevin Samuels. So let me, I've got to like do my holy cross and just we thank you for Kevin Samuels.
You got to get a moment of silence. You know how we do.
Amen to that, brother.
Okay, we got to go silent. This Kevin Samuels, y'all.
All right, pork chop down.
Pork chop down. Oh yeah, Obama, he's a bitch. The mayor of New York, Eric Adams, he's a bitch. Johnson in Chicago, he's a bitch. Did you see him? He has that little woman's point in his head. I don't know if that means he's a power bottom.
He's like a Philip screwdriver.
No, he looks like a power bottom. I mean, just he looks like Barbara Jordan had a buzz cut and got a beard, for Halloween. We have a lot of bitch men in our community. And I think a lot of their mothers raised them to be bitches. Or a lot of them are out of foster care. And I don't know, the family gang raped them and all. I don't know what it is. I mean, I don't know if someone ripped your rear end or something, brothers out here. But we've got to regain. In fact, that was a major conversation that Frederick Douglass and others were talking about, was recapturing our manhood. And recapturing our manhood doesn't mean beating down or victimizing women or being an asshole. Have you ever seen a bitch ass black man with his child, especially if it's a boy? And the man is like 50 paces ahead of the boy, screaming, come on, I ain't gonna hold you. Come on, hey, yeah. And someone could take that child, harvest their organs. I see black men do some, not all, but have you seen like a bitch ass black dude and he's sagging and you can see like dookie juice at the top of his jaws and he don't want to hold his own son?
Balls.
You've seen this shit. These sorry ass black men, you better hold that boy. In fact, you better hug him. If you don't
talk about that politician that lost in Florida, you know which one I'm talking about, the gay one, the one that came out of the closet with crack cocaine.
No, yeah. Well, you're not talking about the black one.
Well, I'm talking about the black one that ran against Andrew Gillum. Andrew Gillum, yeah, that guy.
Okay.
The one who ran in Florida.
Okay, no, all I'm going to say to you is, yeah, Gillum. Well, everybody knows that's a recorded fact. I let people know Andrew Gillum was going to get busted for some sex stuff 2 weeks before it happened. That's on the Ron Hurd platform. I told people I had a prophecy. I warned people. And I said it's going to happen about 2 weeks. It happened 9 days later. I was not surprised. Okay. Black men, part of not being a bitch is knowing how to be an affable person, a person that can be liked, a person that you can be around, a person that you'd want to help, a person that you'd want. And in other words, let me just say it. We got to have some brotherly love in our community. I'm not talking about being a power bottom. I'm not talking about P. Diddy's love, whatever the hell that thing is, where he wants to put a root canal up your ass. I'm talking about the fact that I want you to make it. I want to make it. I want you to be, Brother Rollin called me last night. I was in the mood for all of his youthful energy and shit. But if I can help him on a project and it's substantive, then I took the time. If Chef calls me, I'm going to say, okay, Chef, what can I do? Chef is such a cool black man, and he's 100%, and the niggas and the guns and shit, don't let the chef shit fool you. He could break your fucking jaw and knock you out. I'm not violent, but all my friends are. All my friends are like fighter type people. All my friends are ex-convicts, whatever. They fight and shoot people. I always try to, please don't beat the person up. So I'm the weakest person in the group. But Chef is a nice man. He's a good person. We try too hard to be hard ass and gangsters with each other when it's not necessary. We're hard ass and gangster with our women, and our women are hard ass and gangster with us, and we're just nasty to each other and we can do better. We can be more pleasant with each other. And I would suspect if we were kinder to each other and at the same time we enforce the rules, if I'm kind to you, you better not screw over me or you're going to get your ass crushed. That's the other side to it. There has to be a balance. The benefits of being in community with one another is if you're kind to me, I'm kind to you, I'll do for you if you do for me. And if you're a person that doesn't keep your word or you mess over people, if you're a brother fucker, if you're a pork chop, you're out. We have to begin to create that law and code that's for Black Americans. And because, we accept and receive everybody but each other, and that's sickening. And in particular, again, the most catty, difficult people are pork chops and bitchified Black men. Have you ever worked a job, brothers, and there's a Black dude that he is such a bitch towards every Black man? You would think he wants to get screwed by one of you. He's nice to everyone but other Black men. And I mean, it's like, damn, nobody can get along. Nobody Black and male can be tolerated.
The self-hate Negro.
Okay, yeah, no. He likes Black
I would
women.
say LGBTQ representative.
He likes Black women. He can get along with Black women, but he can't work with any Black male. It just drives every Black male, makes him mad at all times. He's going to fight them for the sake of it. I learned this. This is a big problem in DC. We have a lot of bitchified Black men here. I noticed that when I went to school with white people, white kids fought, but typically for a reason. I noticed that Black boys and then later Black men, we feel one of our fringe benefits in life is that we can be violent towards other Black men and there's no penalty, there's no social penalty for being antisocial. Sit down and think. No other group of people tolerates that. You can't go and prey on the weak, and they will gang up on you and beat your ass. I'll give an example. You can have a Black dude on a basketball team who's a prima donna asshole, who's a great player, and he works against his other team members. He won't let anyone else touch the ball. Nobody on the same team is good enough to be on the court with him. And that team loses because he's more interested in punishing the people on his team than winning the game. And you can have a good team of Blacks with one ball hog, brotherfucker bitch, ball hog. And he'll make all of them lose because he needs to be nasty to his own team. And you have a bunch of white guys with ugly tennis shoes on that will beat the shit out of the Black team because the white guys use teamwork. And the Black men have bitch work. Oprah Winfrey, if Black men in Hollywood weren't bitches, if Black men in the music weren't bitches, Oprah Winfrey's ass would have been shut down a long time ago. And by the way, her head looks all big and shit. I hope her neck doesn't break. She probably needed some of that fat to hold that thing up there. But anyway. Let me stop for a second. It's your turn. Somebody else speak because we want to get back to the movie, but we had to talk some Black theory for a minute. I hope y'all don't mind us having these conversations because it must be said. And I want to say this. Someone said something about Andrew Gillum. Everybody with any sense could see that Andrew Gillum, he had a wife. When you start as a politician and you're married and you're going to these gay events alone, that's because you don't want these guys to see you with your wife. I told someone this in 2018. I started calling him Andrew Gullet. And says, there's no way you got a wife. And to me, his wife is a nice looking woman. If I had a wife that liked me and kids, I mean, you take your wife around with you when you campaign. Why is it when you're out in the white gays, you don't want your wife with you? I asked someone this in 2018. It's like, I see you. I see you, Andrew Gillum.
Because he was doing those Terry Crews moves. That's what he was doing. He was trying to do that without his wife.
I see you, Andrew Gillum. You got this black wife with the 2 kids to have this image of the family man, but you're leaving your wife out. You don't do that. And you're going around and you're going to all these gay things, and your wife isn't with you. See, he's a presentable man. We know that white liberals are freaks. If you go by yourself as a man into that environment, you're going to get proposition because that's what that life is about. You take your woman to deflect, to skip. Man, maybe he likes pussy too much for me to ask him. He's sure. I bet she has a horse-sized cock, right? But his wife is always with him, right? I mean, look, in D.C., I worked in the Republican Party. White sissies are always chasing black men, always. If you bring a woman, that fronts them off. Andrew Gillum knew it, and I know it too. And that's why he didn't take his wife, so they could feel comfortable to approach him. And that's what I told someone in 2018. So I'm just watching. It's a ticking time bomb for this shit to come out. I'll wait. I know I'm right. And it happened. Like I told people. I called Judge Joe Brown. I says, Judge, watch. Gillum's going down in 2 weeks. And says, how do you know? I says, Judge, when you see it, I told you. I says, I feel sorry. I like his wife. I think his wife is a nice lady. He has beautiful kids, a nice and dark chocolate look, beautiful looking family. He doesn't value it that much, or at least not as much as you should. Says, I feel sorry for his wife. She's going to be humiliated. And it happened.
Well, hold on, brother, Dr. Short and Negro. I'm gonna go to you after this. I do have to read this stat one more time because I really, again, I don't believe the audience had allowed it to sit in the way it should. And shout out to everybody. Make sure you like, sharing, and subscribing. Also, hit the notification bell on either platform so when we go live, you are notified. Like, share, subscribe, like, share, subscribe, like, share, subscribe, family. All right. Now, the Negro came into the kitchen, came into Pat Talk and shared some devastating stats. And it's really pertaining to the black male youth. Okay. And for the slow people in the back who just didn't really think it's necessary to prioritize.
Or they fell off that yellow bus on their way to school.
Right. Or radio.
Short yellow bus.
Very short. So again, I just need to read this. I gotta read this. The CDC report that suicide is now the third leading cause of death for black male adolescents and young adults. The third.
Mm-hmm.
This is 2023 report, y'all. This is this year. You understand? The crisis of suicide among black Americans is inherently gendered, with black boys and men accounting for the vast majority of 81% of completed suicides in our population, y'all. Completed 81%. That includes attempts, injuries, etc., y'all. 81. That's a B- if you want to go to school real quick with it. Okay? Mm-hmm. Now, but even with a B-, you still pass. If you understand what I'm cooking right now. Let's keep on going, though. Recent studies revealed that in the past 2 decades, suicide attempts rose by 73% between black adolescent boys and girls, while injury attempts increased by and 22% for black adolescent boys.
Now, let me
Back
share
to
something and add it in, and I bet you'll find this is true. A lot of black folks, there's a whole shame process in suicide. So let's be, a lot of black men are committing suicide by taking intravenous drugs.
come on,
They
come
know
on.
the fentanyl kills, and so a lot of black folks, it's not such a bad thing to die of an overdose versus killing yourself. And so a lot of people out here, when
Wake it up, Dr.
they
Short.
know damn well that they've now put fentanyl in the cocaine, they put fentanyl in the heroin. If you're still shooting dope and the numbers of blacks dying from opioids is going up and it's high among black men, they are trying to commit suicide in a way in which they would not be, it won't be stigmatizing to their families. We black folks are very fake about stuff. We don't talk directly. So if I die of an overdose, that's not so bad. If I die of pneumonia, I it's not like I died from AIDS, even if I got the pneumonia as a result of having my immune system messed up from all the sex it's having.
Come on.
We are
Right.
we our community is a tangle of lies, deception, fraud, deceit, and scams. A lot of black men are trying to kill themselves. And they're doing it not just with guns, but they're also doing it with the other things that they do, like driving below the dashboard of cars. I mean, what's, people way back bent back driving. There's a lot of parasuicidal behavior that is seen as being tough, and in reality, people have a death wish.
Correct.
They'd like to. A lot of black men wish they were dead. As much as Oprah and the other people in the color purple, these indomitable black men that are just full of life, they just want to make everyone miserable. It's not common. A lot of black men feel defeated. They hate how things are. They wish life were over. They try to drink themselves out, drug themselves out, and in reality, sex themselves out, which is why a lot of men will have sex with a woman even if they know she has a venereal disease.
Talk truth. Come on.
At least
Come on.
I got some. Even if that pussy killed me, I'm gonna get it anyway. That's not a person trying to live.
You're hearing more things like, and this is not even just a small group of folks, but you're hearing more men. And listen, what the stat just told us right here: 122% of black male adolescent boys. A lot of these kids are running around here talking about they don't have a reason to live. They just want it to end. They don't want to. They don't want the pain anymore. Black adolescent children thinking like that. What the fuck is going on in these households? That's what we need to be asking ourselves and be honest with ourselves about. Speak on that, my Negro, and then I gotta hear from Brother Dr. Short.
Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Yep.
Come on.
Yeah, the reason why that got me looking to that data the way I did was I had some family issues where I have loved ones that are very young that's smoking weed because of the stress level that they're experiencing in their household. That was what got me to explore into that. The other aspect is that they keep on talking about these cyber crimes, quote unquote, or cyberbullying. But the thing is, when black people defend themselves from racial hostility, that's when they want to label it as such. So when I was talking about cyberbullying, I was talking about it from a racial component, as that these guys are doing mock slave trades, them calling our children monkeys and stuff of that nature. That was kind of, and I've set it up as the premise that is the real cyberbullying, not the retaliation towards the actions and the behavior based off of the suicide levels. So that was kind of some of the arguments that I was making within that thesis paper that people were calling me, I sound like a white man. It's crazy. It's crazy. But
primitive thought process, when you provide that kind of information, Brother Negro, when you provide that kind of legitimate fact, I mean, this is CDC we talking about, that information you pulled. You have reference. Like, come on, bro. We're talking about a major plague, a suicidal plague We're at plague level.
We're at plague level, and I will share something with you. Um, Suicide or depression. Someone mentioned depression, and depression's a problem. Now, I'll tell anyone I have seasonal affect disorder. I deal with depression so many weeks every year when the seasons change, as do many people. Depression's no joke, and we don't deal with mental illness. But I'm going to say one thing: we have two issues. One, as a people, and I'm telling you, we have a big issue of pride where we don't go and get help around mental stuff because there's a lot of secrecy. For example, if we have lots of secrets and you have family systems where their lies and their grudges and so forth, the children are violated and hurt by all this. One of the things that causes children to be depressed and have mental problems and drug problems, ladies, is the absence of a father. Children that don't have fathers are more likely to commit crimes, to end up on drugs, and not do well in school. Everything is screaming for patriarchy. And that bitch Oprah Winfrey is saying, y'all don't need no men. This is an indices of the absence of the stability that men bring to a people. And it doesn't even matter if the men have high income. They found that even when men are struggling with moderate income, the children fare better just knowing their father is there.
Come on.
But when you tell the woman a man ain't shit, when you have a social welfare system that incentivizes the women having nothing to do with men, and yet we've had enough nigger politicians to correct this shit in the social services and have done nothing.
Come on.
That's no longer an excuse. We could fix it. The absence of patriarchy has been our death. That's one. Our reluctance to own up to getting help. I have a relative, I'm not going to call the name. There are people who were molested and abused that didn't go in to see anybody. And they one of the things that they do, which is why I don't like going to church a lot, because a lot of people in church don't deal with stuff. It isn't God. It's not the scripture. It's not good music. But it's a whole bunch of niggas in there running from reality. You know, I'll give you a simple story. There's a young man used to go to church in Boston and Dorchester. And there was a young guy there. He wasn't a bad kid. He's in the choir, but no father in the home. And he was like, you know, what's the song? Slipping. Hold on, I got my tambourine. Slipping in the darkness. Remember that song, Slipping in the Darkness? Well, he was slipping into gayness. And he's going to church, doing the holy dance, trying to shout off, you know, fag vibes. I mean, and I'm not mad at him. Please, right? He's trying to be okay. And you know what? These coon ass preachers would sit up and laugh at this kid. And laugh. He's there. He's not out gangbanging. He's not trying to hurt. He's trying to be okay. And doesn't know how to be okay. And those dudes sat up there and laughed at him. And one day, I didn't go to church for a couple of weeks, whatever, and somebody called me. He's one of the pastors, a Caribbean pastor, and asked me why I wasn't there. And I says, I'm not in church because you people are full of shit. That's why I'm not in church. I can talk to God better in my own house. Read my Bible without having to spend my money to go over and see you sorry niggas not deal with reality.
Come on with it.
And he says, what are you talking about? He says, I'm talking about that boy in the choir that sings Until He Comes. That boy that comes and falls out in front of the damn altar every Sunday. You guys see he's struggling with his sexuality and your sorry ass won't help him. Why do I owe you 10% of my money when you're showing me you don't give a damn about the youth in your church? Tell the bishop I said, fuck you. Why wait for him to die from AIDS if you could intervene? And that was the last time I spoke to anyone from that church, and I don't give a fuck. I feel great. And I'll never go back up. I hope they knock this shit down. That boy, I had more problems with people not being willing. This boy did not want to be a gay person. Someone could have talked to him. We see people with the problem and we ignore it, or we try to be experts for shit above our pay grade. So the church people don't deal with shit, but they want your money. And then the other side is the people in all these new religious things, they're fuck ups too. There's pedophilia, rape, and abuse, and all these other little religions. Oh, yes, the hell there is. And it rots from the top. One of the things that's missing in our community is true principles and true faith. It's missing. These kids don't have anything to hold on to. I will say this, with all of its problems, they used to have stuff for children at these different churches and places. They would get the kids. In fact, churches often were a place for sorry ass black women to get out of motherhood. Yeah, I'm going to talk about you hoes out there who basically dumped their kids off at church so they could do what the hell they wanted. They weren't living nothing. Oh, hell, I'm going to talk about you bitches out here. Yeah, everybody's taking care of your kids but you. It's your mama, it's your grandmama, it's your aunts. You even have the little boys who fagged out your sons to raise your kids so you can whore. There used to be a whole system of people that could carry these kids when the mother was full of shit. Well, now the grannies in that generation has died off. Big Mama's ass has kicked the bucket. With mass incarceration and other things, black men have been removed from the community in massive ways. I'm talking real. With with abortion, a lot of times there are not other siblings around to be there for other siblings. Sometimes siblings take care of siblings, and of course, and for the woman that doesn't know how to open a can of SpaghettiOs, they do too exist. So these kids don't have anything. At least they might, like the kids don't read. Where did a lot of black kids learn to read? They used to go to church. At least they have them reading a Bible. So when they got to school, even if their parents hadn't read or mom hadn't read to them, they knew how to read. But then again, they've changed the structure of the church. It's become even more matrifocal. So now you have even more women preachers and all this strange stuff. So it's even more pedophiles and predators. So even if they go to church, they get ripped up in the churches because the freaks are in there. We've had a complete meltdown as a community. And it's time for people to begin to regroup. But the spirituality makes a difference. Children had something to live for if you believed there was a heaven. Even if it's bullshit, it's a nice idea. These people, so there's no idea of heaven. So if life is miserable and there's nothing to live for, and I don't see how I'm going to do any better, why not take myself out? So a lot of the suicide is going on. And let me tell you what's filled the vacuum of the church. All these hoes out there burning sage and all this bullshit and tarot cards and tattoos and this horror slave slut culture. And everybody's into yoga and they don't even know what the hell yoga's about. Witchcraft is at an all-time high in our community. Or as I say, bitchcraft.
Come on now. There we go. Come on.
So our children don't have anything to live for. They have, mama ain't living shit. I have some neighbors up the street. I'm not going to call their names. But when you watch the mother have the kid smoking a blunt at 3 years old, I'm not surprised if they died of AIDS. So these moms that smoke and drink, and I have to say this to you because Oh yes, I'm going there. I'm gonna make some enemies. I just want to beat down in the spirit, pork chop feminist. My cousin, Dr. Spencer Holland of Columbia University, had a very good program called Project 21. It was on 60 Minutes. You may have even seen it. This was out of a school, Hine Junior High School in Southeast. And Dr. Holland could get any black boy from any household and prepare them in no time from failures to success stories. In fact, it's called Project 2000. Every young man that he had went to an Ivy League or a major state university, single parent household, but that one black man in the life of those boys turned things around. Now, I want to say to you, did he get the support from our bitch ass school system in DC or all these people in DC? No. In fact, to his credit, Clarence Thomas funded the school that my cousin had. Clarence Thomas. And I'm thinking, I know a lot of black folk talk bad about Clarence Thomas. I wish they would do better than Clarence Thomas. But there's one thing that my cousin told me. Says I can save practically any young black boy. I can turn him around. I could do it. But there's one thing that I can't save him. If the boy's mother becomes gay and moves a woman in with her, I've lost the boy. The boy's dead. For all you liar black women out there that pretend that lesbianism isn't as destructive as two men screwing each other in the behind, you're liars. Lesbianism is as deadly. It's sodomy too. It's not sodomy light. And for all the stupid ass black men out there, man, you fucktard black men who pretend that lesbians are superheroes because you don't have to marry them. You're contributing to the death of our race. Sodomy should be equally reviled regardless of which sex practices it. As long as lesbianism is seen as cool and wonderful and great, you stupid ass fucktard black men, you're cutting young black boys and girls' throats because you get some sex that you don't have to be accountable for. I almost wish dudes like that dicks would all fall off. They find something else to do with their time. So these boys who are dying, I would contend, because they only do the kids, Brother Negro and Chef C, because the real problem are the parents. And if the father's not there, then what's that bitch ass mama on? And if she's sucking on pussy, if she's got a bunch of stud friends that sit down and spew Oprah Winfrey and Whoopi Goldberg and Megan Thee Stallion and all this other stuff and Cardi B shit towards their sons, and they're playing all this garbage, filth, homo thug rap music, then they're just nothing but murderesses that didn't get the abortions.
Come on. Listen.
Dang, Dr. Short's out here windmilling and kicking this afternoon.
Listen,
amen to you.
I want to say this right quick. Everybody, make sure on both platforms you are liking, sharing, subscribing. I am tuned in with the Angry Black Man's Book Club.
Angry Black Men.
4. And definitely, y'all, we got the Negro in here joining us for the conversation today. Brother Short, were you able to share the link? I mean, I see you got several people on your side.
I do. If I've got, if you, can you email that to me so I can go into my inbox and copy it up? And I would share this for all the people who think we're just talking shit here. We do talk shit, but we talk intelligent shit. versus dumb shit. In fact, the people who talk dumb shit like Jay-Z, they get rich. The broke black folks are the ones that talk the real thing.
That's a fact.
And I want to let all of you know, in the Angry Black Men's Book Club, I have everything set up. So let me see. I'm gonna like have a snack once we're done with this, and we're gonna roll some books out. In fact, I'm gonna take some drugs. Well, herbs, but they're drugs for me. I need some ashwagandha. Oprah has like depressed me, made me mad. And we have to do a quick review of the movie, right? So we're gonna wind this up in about 30 minutes. But send me the link so people can see this thing. And for anybody, I'm on StreamYard. We will send this out. Let me see. So that's 5.
Brother Short, that same link is the one you can share
Which,
that I sent you.
Okay, you sent it to me by Gmail?
Gmail and the one that was sent to your cell phone. That's the
Okay.
link we use about.
But see, I'm using these phones to record. So let me see. I got a thumbnail. Did you send something else? Which Gmail did you send to?
WR.
Yeah. No. I'm not able to get to that. That's in this phone. Send it to the other one.
What about the 202 area code that I sent it to? You can do that.
No, can you have it sent via email? All these phones are recording.
Okay, which I need to know which.
WR.
Again?
Yes.
Okay. Hold on. Let me see.
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna send you this suicide thing. Okay. Well, Whitfield, that's okay. I was just asking Whitfield. I have a bunch of relatives from NC that are named Whitfield. In fact, so I always ask people. You never know who's what. Someone's asked me if I have family from Chattanooga, and I have my great grandmother was from the Chattanooga area. They're Indians up in the hills. So, yeah, for all the Pan-Africanists, I'm sorry, they're Indians. The tribe is still up in the hills. They've been there for 600 years before white people got here. Not to be mean, because my DNA says I'm like, some DNA says I'm 40 some odd percent Nigerian, and other things say different things. But ultimately, I'm an American black person with all kinds of shit put inside. Okay.
Okay, I sent it to you, Brother Short.
Okay, let me share this with everybody. And I'm going to put it up on the screen. Please treat us like we're white. Subscribe, share, talk to somebody. Please don't go to see The Color Purple. Please save your money. Wait for some thug ass nigga. Give it to them. Bible pirate shit. It should be available now. If you're in a major metropolitan center, someone has stolen the film. That's how I saw Selma. I don't buy shit from Oprah typically. And that's all. She got a butt lift and all that. She needs a heart lift. You can't do a heart transplant on the evil witch like her. Yes, she's a witch. She's a witch. I don't care. I don't need any friends. I'm never going to like Oprah, okay? I like Fantasia, but I want the movie to flop. I think Fantasia's getting a lot of really good press, so I'm happy for Fantasia. And she is married to a man, and I think he's black too. I hope he's a good one. I know she's been through this. I want anyone's ass to get beat. I'm trying to think what's, you know what, Chef C, I'm doing what I can, but do you know that this thing is moving slow? So I still can't see what you sent. It's acting really stupid. Even when I have stuff hardwired, people don't realize when our platforms, they mess with it. So when I'm trying to do something, it won't move. Remember, I was telling you that one day we were going to do something and just for like an hour, I couldn't get online. This happens. It only happens when you're trying to do when you're talking to people. They really don't appreciate even little people talking about stuff. They want us dumb. They want us weak. They want us bamboozled.
Okay, that's okay. We're good on that. Let's get into the review of the color.
You mean the color Slurple?
Let's get into the review, brother Dr. Shaw. Tell us about this. Now, again, you go in there. Are you the only stop down non-fan that's in the theater at the time?
You know, I got in the theater. You have to understand that I was on the very first front row. I'm the only. I saw some moist men. I thought I sent you pictures. There were some moist ass men there.
I hope you ain't send me no pictures of no motherfucking rainbows.
No,
I took. Show him the picture of the white Pakistani. The white Pakistani dancing with the black woman.
No, those pictures are from the movie.
Okay.
Let me just say this. If you've seen The Color Purple, one thing I need to say too is that light-skinned people are the desirable, good-looking ones. The dark-skinned people are the ugly, evil ones. So Oprah's colorism. There's lots of great scenery. You'll really like scenery if you know. There's lots of turn of the century stuff. It's very well shot. Okay. But aside from it being the visuals being good, it's morally bankrupt. You need to know that the color Slurple cut out 13 songs that are in the original stage play. 13 songs removed. And the sequencing of the songs and the actions a trip. So, I mean, you just punch the bitch in the face and then y'all doing a song. And I'm like, I can't work with stuff like that. I just saw a man hit a lady and now she's going to sing. That's weird to me.
What the pork chop? What do you mean? What?
I think there's a scene, if I remember right, where Mr. Punches her in the face for his food being late, and she starts singing with the bloody mouth, and I'm thinking, or something like that. It was like, this is too over the top for me. So there are these scenes, and you should see like the big, what's her name, Danielle Brooks. She's the big, fat, chunky black one, singing "Hell No." And I was thinking she's saying hell no to an exercise bike or to a diet plan. But it starts off in coastal Georgia, and the father's screwing Celie, and they're taking kids, and so you have this mean ass black man that's mean, and she has the baby, and she and her sister having a good time. You see all of that, and ultimately, what happens? She comes to the jacked up house that's dirty, and the kids are this, that, and the other, and she fixes it up. And then Nettie comes and he tries to screw Nettie, and she beats his ass. He throws her out with the shotgun, and that happens. And of course, and then Sophia comes in and basically storms into the men's club with Harpo and all this stuff. And eventually, and it's basically it's the same story, but with music that's not always that well done. And then, of course, Suge comes. And this film shows a little bit more nuance that these women want to fuck each other, right? That's what's trying to happen, right? But because they got a G rating, see, Oprah betrayed everyone. Oprah was supposed to just let them do some grazing and crunch and munch for real. And I think some people thought they're going to get to see some women like get down on each other. I think the words got out, the women don't fuck in the movie. So, I mean, enthusiasm's going to go down. Because the first movie caught hell from the gay community for not showing them have sex. The original Color Purple was supposed to have some sex, and they didn't put it out because they wanted to get by this. They wanted to get a G rating. And Oprah, I guess, you think they don't listen to us. They know there are people like us out here who are waiting to get her sorry ass.
Oh yeah.
We
Oh
want
yeah.
it. Bitch, we gonna get you. I don't care. She can lose all the weight you want. As long as she's not in the box, me and Oprah gonna be fighting. She needs black men like me need to remember remember Principal Clark from Lean on Me. Remember that loudmouth broad that was always bothering him and Lean on Me. The character Morgan Freeman played. And, we're gonna get you, Principal Clark. Well, I'm basically being the male version to Oprah. I won't go around and just give Oprah hell. It's just like trip on Oprah. Since all black men are no good, and since all black men are full of shit and foul, I accept the honor when it comes to Oprah, and I'm just gonna be an asshole whenever Oprah does something. Just be difficult. Since all men are like this, I can't help myself. See, I like that defense against feminists since I'm not shit. I had this situation, Chef C, and this idiot pork chop was doing something, and I told her, well, I have to disrespect you because I'm a man and I'm not shit. And started saying that feminist shit back to me. No, I'm not shit. You know I'm not shit, and I know I'm not shit. Women don't like that when you do that. I'm gonna be just like the feminist said. I don't care. I don't like women. I don't like you. I'm not gonna do anything. I was having fun. She started getting mad. That's like, yay! That's how we men feel when you do that stupid shit. That microaggressive man hate shit. What if we did that? What if black men started acting as dumb and petty as these mean mug holes you see in the stores and everywhere? Hmm. Be glad folk are begging for pussy. At least they're speaking and smiling. You don't want their disease, but at least they're communicating. We don't even get that. Come on, brothers, say amen. We get a lot of meanness. Anyway, moving right along, you see the scene where Oprah tells Sophia to beat Harpo's ass. Harpo comes with dents in his head. She comes and sees him, and they sing their little hell no song. But of course, when they're building the house, the women take the men's tools to build the house. Ladies, women don't work in construction, okay? That's some masturbatory feminist bullshit. I don't see a lot of women in construction. Maybe they waving flags and shit.
Pork chop propaganda.
They may be waving a flag and they probably some are more ass than they're doing construction work. And those guys get paid too, so they know where the money is. Yeah, that was cheap, but it felt good saying it. Shook shows up, and of course, push the button. Push the button is really telling a woman to play with her clitoris. That's what the song "Push the Button's" about. And of course, there's a fantasy scene because Suge walks in. I'm not sure, but Celie walks in to wind up her Victrola record player, and Suge's in the bathtub, and she's just drooling over the light skinned woman in the bathtub. Come on, sisters. So the hard, undesirable woman is the dark skinned one. All the good looking women in the film, or the preferred ones, are lighter skinned.
Like the colorism. Love it.
Mhm.
Love it.
And it's a black woman doing that shit to black women. It's not a black man. It's Oprah. And I don't see no women calling Oprah out on her colorism, and she does that shit all the time. If it were a black man, yeah, I'd be saying something. I'm gonna keep giving black women hell. Treat everybody the same. When Oprah fucks up, call her on it. She's not gonna share money with you anyway. And and what does she care about people? Well, Maui lets you know when you're down. If she can profit off it, she will. She didn't care about those kids barbecuing down in Maui. Remember, she went to take them bottled water. It wasn't even like ionized water, alkaline water. She took their asses some Deer Park and shit.
Her and the Brahma Bull rock.
Yeah,
well, they telling us to donate. A bunch of billionaires telling regular people
to hell,
donate
to hell with them.
And
the words of that and I called it broke Bakistan women. And so and even the women in that hell no scene with the wrinkled dresses on, Black women didn't wear wrinkled clothes, not back then. But that's okay. I mean, so they made black women look common and coarse. And if you know anything about Oprah, she doesn't like black people. Let me go on to say that Celie is staring at her in the bathtub, getting horny. And then she goes into this fantasy where she's singing to her naked in the bathtub, talking about not wanting her to see her staring. And eventually, let me see, Suge leaves, she comes back, and they
Hey,
go,
brother Short, you see Judith looking at you. She likes the sound of that right
yeah,
there. When you're
let
talking
me
about
tell you, they go to the movies. And by the way, Suge gets a light skinned husband with wavy hair. He looks kind of moist, so he probably would jump down with Mister when she's with Celie, but that's another discussion. And they go to the movies, and then there's this fantasy scene, and they're in the clouds, and they sing to each other, and they dance, and then it segues to the kiss but they have like this cloud, so you can't see the two women about to slobber on each other in the movie theater. And I mean, of course, the things happen, and of course, you see the fantasy scenes of Africa, and oh, the Africans just have everything together. If that's true, why the fuck are they coming here? That's okay. All right, moving right along. And it's just a lot of music and stuff, and it's basically a man hating munching pussy is better than being with men. Trust me, ladies. Violence, woman on woman violence in the LGBTQ community is off the charts.
come on.
The murder rate for women is going through the ceiling. One of these books that I will be sharing, I love reading from this. This is Christian Hoff Sommers, Who Stole Feminism. And it talks about how women are lied to all the statistics that justify all this stupid anti male behavior as falsified by radical women who want women mad at men. So if you just say all Super Bowl Sunday, men just beat the shit out of women all over the country. And it's interesting. The feminists argue that men don't care. When men heard that men were beating women on Super Bowl Sunday, all sorts of men start saying, people, man, don't be mean to your woman, right? Because most men are oriented to protect women, period. Little boys try to protect their mothers. This idea that men don't care about women is a creation of radical lesbian Luciferian feminists. I don't think anybody male I know has ever hit any female that I hang with. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but Chef, do you rock with dudes that beat up on women?
It's not my cup of tea at all, brother.
Robin?
Brother Negro, how about you? I've seen too much growing up as a child. I don't get busy with none of that shit.
I
No,
don't.
wait. I don't co-sign that behavior. It's not. I would consider that's not masculine.
I consider that being a bitch. That's a fag. A man that will hit a woman's a fag. It's just the lowest kind. Some gay men are likable. Man that beat up on a woman, I can't be around men that beat up or are mean to. I don't like it. I had 3 cousins in one family murdered by boyfriends. I absolutely hate it. So that's another reason I can't stand Oprah.
I have to say, don't get me wrong. I'm not throwing a cape on for any random situation.
No, we're not asking you to throw a cape on. I'm talking about the fact that the image that Oprah and these other people put out is that black men are down with violence, wanton violence against women, and that we sit down and joke about, like it's the Spinks Ali fight when a man beats a woman. That isn't true. As I said, I had 3 cousins, 2 cousins shot dead by their boyfriends, and 1 stabbed about 80 times. So I've just absolutely, that's very young. It's absolutely completely against men mistreating women. Just, I can't work with it. I can't be friends. It makes me sick to be around a man that manhandles women. I find it disgusting and repellent to even be around a man that's like that. And that includes a man that's psychologically cruel to his woman. I hate them too. My question is, do women hate women that are cruel to men? Or is it this little sisterhood thing? Well, you know how men have been for the last 2 million years. You got to get yours, which is what feminism says.
Come on.
Whatever you do to men is right because of how men have had it. In other words, the women say that the boys of today should pay for the sins of their grandfathers and great grandfathers. So that's why these boys are committing suicide. You're ripping up people, and I've experienced it. Have women tell me, "We're doing this to you because men did this." Well, what does that have to do with me? Well, you're gonna grow up to be an asshole like them, and so we're gonna get out of it now, right? It's another reason why black boys fail in school, white women teachers, and black female teachers. And I need to add, brother fucker, black male teachers, as few of them as there are, basically have a prophecy of destruction and failure that they speak over young black boys. All the while we cry about the girls, the girls, the girls, the girls. Yeah, the girls catch hell. Yeah, they do. But who's going to get adopted? If you have 10 black boys in foster care and 10 black females in foster care, who's going to get adopted? And if you do your research, you'll find out that black male children are disproportionately not taken at all. They'll age out much faster than females. In fact, if you're gonna find out the sex of a child, black women will have a black male child aborted 3-4 times more rapidly than a female. So
shout out to Cynthia G for that. Shout out to Cynthia G talking that nonsense.
This idea of, oh, how hard just black women have total hell and black men are in paradise, just living the dream, is insane. I think we're all dealing with variations of this hellish experience. And it's not always hell. Let me say that there are things to be thankful for. But these women who have these children, if I can segue, they're not imparting spirituality or values. They're not reading. They're not doing anything for these kids. And they don't want the fathers around. There should be a movement among black women to fight to make certain that fathers are included in the lives of their children. The fact that it hasn't happened says that through inaction or silence, sisters, you've consented for this misandry. That's why we're making this comment. Black women basically are down with this, and if they were not, they'd be speaking out. And if you're against it, well, why haven't you said anything? Why are you so silent? And the idea that all mothers are good and all fathers are bad, it's simply not so. I need to remind people about 1 in 5 black children. 1 in 5 black children are raised by a single father that don't get the Section 8, that don't get the WIC, that don't get the SNAP, that don't get the same help that the women do. And the children turn out better with the father that doesn't get the help than the women that do. It says something. I'm not making fathers great. I'm saying that there's an issue. Cynthia G talking about giving birth to black males who commit crimes and don't build communities is her copying a white supremacist concept called Freakonomics, which contends that the crime rate can be determined by the rate of abortion in the black community. I had a stupid black feminist talking about the crime rate going down because of abortion, because we were talking about that Coleman thing where they didn't want money for breast cancer, whatever, and so forth. And I said to her, well, a 10% decline in the crime rate because of abortion. I says, why settle for 10%? Why not have 100% drop in crime and have 100% abortion rate for black people if you're serious about getting rid of crime? That dumb bitch start walking away from me, saying I'm crazy. I says, no, you're crazy. I simply want you to see how stupid you were. It's all about destroying us, and this movie is all about promoting birth control and birth reduction and pain. They put music in it. I must say to you, I saw The Color Purple once in 1985. I've never watched it since. I have seen what's that? Cried all night long, right? And I change it. Oprah wants you carpet munching. Oprah wants you carpet munching. Oprah wants you carpet munching right now. Basically, that's what it is. Oprah wants you carpet munching. The musical, that's the only thing. In fact, they took that song in terms of it being a large chorale. It's just the man and the woman, the father and the daughter playing the piano. But Oprah wants us carpet munching. Oprah wants you carpet munching. Oprah wants you carpet munching right now. Right? You know, now the baby's gone. uh, Me and the studs get on. Oprah wants carpet munching. Right? Don't want a man in my life. Ain't gonna be your wife. Oprah wants us carpet munching. Right? Oprah wants us carpet munching. Oprah. What? Okay, right. They may as well sing that. That would be more honest. And I'll tell anyone, I would be happy if Oprah Winfrey would just bring her man-hating ass out of the closet and leave us the hell alone.
Brother Short, I'm gonna be wrapping it down in
Yeah, I'm
5
ready.
minutes,
I mean,
sir.
I can stop here because I get depressed thinking about this. I want to let people know I'm gonna put my angry black men's thing out here so we can do this thing. But nobody's thinking about no damn Oprah. I'm so sorry we had to talk about this, but it was the film is boring. I've been waiting to see because the first day it made $18,150,000. Next day it made $7 million, a drop of 61%. They didn't put the figures out for today. I'm going to check Box Office Mojo and see if I believe the numbers are dropping. I think that this film is going to bomb. It is my prayer. Sorry, Fantasia. But I want the movie to bomb. I would like for Oprah to lose money and for the Hollywood gay Jews to decide not to give her any more money. Never give Oprah $100 million. She should spend her own damn money on it. She seems like she has nothing better to do than hate black men. Then spend your damn money on it. Why ask another group of people who hate us to help you hate us when you could do it yourself? Oprah's basically a media version of the Ku Klux Klan and the Nazis with a lot of cunnilingus and a tongue ring on it. To hell
Hey,
with her.
Brother Short, you see this photo? Did she get a nose job? Is it me?
She got a news and a boob and a boob job. She got them both done, brother.
Well, you know what? But she can't get a new heart, and that's the worst side of her. Okay, and I liked her better when she was fat. It kept her humble. Now she thinks she's fine. She's going to be even more ridiculous.
Kept her humble. She still was going after niggas.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so Angry Black Men's Book Club. We're going to stop here. Subscribe, like, contribute. I want to thank Miss Eddings for making a donation. And also the Patreon. All the stuff is up here. My Patreon is Dr. Randy Short. So if anybody wants to do the Patreon, that's cool. Do that if you can, if you want to. It's not gonna hurt you. And so just know that we're here. And of course, thank you for Pat Talk. Pat Talk is where men speak and women listen. Um, Someone said she'll be fat when the movie flops. I hope so. In fact, we want Oprah fat, not her movie. Um, we want we want her box office to for her box office to drink enough Slim Fast to be Twiggy. Okay. But again, we thank you. We're gonna do something a little bit. I need to eat. I'm feeling slightly out of it. We will be back. I plan to do a show. I have all my stuff stacked up. And so we're going to lead out with some stuff on race and eugenics and reparations over the coming days. I just thank you.
Let me give them my platforms, Brother Dr. Short. Let me give them my platforms. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank all of you for tapping in with us here today. If you want to reach out, definitely subscribe, share, and like. Go to my platform on their next podcast on YouTube. Also from the Soil TV on YouTube to check out our Black American docu-series where we got Brother Dr. Short in the Washington, D.C. episode featured in that one. Definitely check that brother out, making his one of his many debuts to the big screen. So check that out, y'all. From the Soil TV on YouTube. Also, go check out the website, FromTheSoil.tv, to go ahead and check out what we're doing. We're actually filming season 2 as well right now. So definitely look forward to that coming out in the new year, y'all. So I appreciate everything. Definitely subscribe to both of the platforms.
And what about our brother here, our honorary white person says,
our white Negro.
Yes. Hey, white man.
Yeah. If they think I'm so white, what y'all need to do is check out From the Soil. Check out the Connecticut episode, right? You're gonna see a Negro such as myself talking my talk, the same rhetoric here that you're gonna get live on that brother's platform. So make sure you support Brother Chef C in that project, From the Soil, and make sure you check out season 1, the Connecticut one, since I'm so white.
And you know what? There's somebody that talks like they're white that you love. That's his cousin. This brother's related to Obama, so you know he's not welcome in the White House. You probably get those daughters that aren't here straight. You could go to the little short one. She had that big oven stuffer roaster booty, man. She may not be Michelle's daughter, but she got Michelle's behind. I don't know how they worked that out. Anyway, we're gonna close out with Oprah wants your carpet munching. Oprah wants us carpet munching. Oprah wants us carpet munching right now. Right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, I gotta say this before on our way going out of here. Listen, in a system of white supremacy, well, white degeneracy to be more exact, you stand for nothing, you fall for anything. We out of here. Catch you guys later.
Dating man is wrong. Patriarchy's gone. Oprah wants your carpet munching. Come on, y'all munching. Right. Now all the babies killed. Ain't gonna do men's will. Oprah wants your carpet munching. I'll see you guys in about an hour or less. See you then. Peace out. Goodbye over here, Sister Temple. And I'm about to close out this stream, y'all. Oprah wants you carpet munching. Oprah wants you carpet munching. Oprah want you.